At number 10, Lady Death. Lady Death was originally a mortal named Hope, who decided to make a deal with a demon so she wouldn't be burned at the stake. She then became a powerful queen of hell, although if you thought she'd be evil because of that, you would be wrong. Hope instead became a hero of sorts. Also, if you didn't guess, she became extremely powerful. Her powers include telekinesis, weather control, flight, spell casting, necromancy, teleportation, and she's basically invulnerable.
And at 9, Nightmerica. You enjoyed the last time I brought characters in that weren't just from comics, so I figured I'd do the same here with Nightmerica. This female demon ghost is from my favorite childhood show that ended too soon, Danny Phantom, and is a parody of the Nightmare on Elm Street character Freddy Krueger. Originally she was just a movie character inside the Danny Phantom universe, until Danny and Tugger decided to head to another girl's party instead of going to the movies with their best friend Sam like they said. When Sam figures out what happened, she wishes for something to happen to the other girl named Paulina. When the ghost known as Desiree overhears Sam's wish, she brings Nightmerica to life along with 2 other ghosts in order to kill Paulina. She has the typical set of ghost powers: flight, invisibility, intangibility, and possesses supernatural strength, being able to throw someone across the room. She resembles Freddy Krueger but with green hair and claws because she's a ghost, Her only other appearance is in the episode called Phantom Planet, the series finale, where she, spoiler alert, helps in turning the planet intangible to prevent a meteor that ghosts aren't able to touch go through the planet in order for the planet to be saved, since the ghost zone and our world are linked. God, I missed that show. Hashtag go ghost again.
And at number 8, Calumet. Calumet is a lesser known demon compared to the others on our list, yet he is still a terrifying creature. Just look at him. Worshipped by the cult of Calumet for centuries, he is a demon who looks like a humanoid goat. He first appeared in Dead of Night issue 11 in 1975, which was also the debut of his biggest foe, Scarecrow, not to be confused with DC's Scarecrow that is. He also goes by the name Strawman. Strawman is the reason why Calumet only has 1 horn. He ripped it from the monster's head and then sealed the dimensional gateway between the 2 realms behind an oil painting, trapping Calumet. Unlike the other demons on our list, the full extent of Calumet's power is still pretty unknown. But he is the lord of an extra-dimensional realm and had enough power to take over the Earth, although those powers were severely limited on our planet since he couldn't fully access it. The whole dimensional rift thing. Portals, yay. That being said, he could use his abilities to grant power to others and send demons to Earth on occasion. So who knows what he could have done if he had had his full range of powers at his disposal during his comic appearances. We don't even fully know if Calumet is still kicking out there. Strawman would later inform Doctor Strange that he succeeded in destroying the demon, but there is nothing but Strawman's own word to confirm whether or not the demon is actually gone. So who knows, maybe he might pop up again in the future.
Number 7, Archangel. Archangel is basically the demonic side of Angel, one of the founding members of the X-Men. Angel was originally transformed into his alter ego by Apocalypse when he was made his Horseman of Death, after Apocalypse manipulated his mind and altered his body on his celestial ship. This side of Angel resided within him even after he was freed from being Apocalypse's horseman and gave him a taste for death and destruction. In fact, he craved death and destruction a lot of the time. In this form, Angel has deadly techno-organic wings which not only allow him to fly, but also act as a shield, can fire poison-tipped organic feathers, and happen to be razor sharp and can be used themselves as blade-like weapons. Imagine having a sword fight with somebody's wings, oh my goodness. He also has a hypersonic scream which can be used to cause internal organ damage to his enemies, and he has a proper healing factor in this form. He doesn't just have to bleed on people. Beyond him being the dark side of his original form as Angel, Archangel also at one point became Apocalypse. He was like a dark god hell-bent on world domination through replacing all life on Earth with life that he himself had created. Typical scary Apocalypse things. Number 6, Nils Steiger. Steiger is known by the codename of Abyss. Steiger? Stigger? Which one is it? He is also half-brother of Nightcrawler, on his father's side, meaning that he is also the son of Azazel. His powers allow him to unravel his body, which is made of wrappings. Yeah, if you've ever wondered what a mutant mummy would be like, this is pretty much it. He can use his wrappings to defend himself and attack with them, and when wrapped up, his body is made more durable by his wrappings. Like his half-brother, he also shares a link to the Brimstone dimension. In the center of his chest, underneath his wrappings, is a dark void that when revealed acts like a black hole, so he can use it to suck in enemies, transporting and trapping them in the Brimstone dimension for as long as Abyss sees fit. Nils can also absorb absorb fear energy and use it to power himself. Unfortunately, he was depowered during M-Day, then repowered by the Terrigen Mist, but only to be depowered again later. Yeesh!
Number 5. Raven. Raven is the daughter of the demon Trigon. Raven was raised in a dimension called Zarathos, and she was taught to control her emotions by Azar. So, she could control by Azar. Later, when she was back on Earth, she found out that her father Trigon was coming for her and prepared to stop him. She went to the Justice League for help, but unfortunately, they refused because Zatanna sensed her demon ancestry and said that, she couldn't be trusted. This led Raven to be one of the founding members of the group known as the Teen Titans. The Titans defeated Trigon, but he wasn't gone for good, they never are, and he was always trying to secretly influence Raven and eventually returned again. Because of her demon heritage, Raven is extremely powerful. Her powers include astral projection, flight, telekinesis, teleportation, empathy, darkness manipulation, and she can cast magic spells.
And at 4, Satan. Lucifer Morningstar is one of the most powerful beings in the DC universe. While DC has had various depictions of the fallen angel, this interpretation debuted in The Sandman Volume 2 number 4 in 1989. The later Lucifer spin-off would have him adventuring on Earth, heaven, and other realms of his family's creation and in uncreated voids after abandoning Hell in The Sandman. He would also later appear in The Demon, The Spectre, and other DC comics. After his abandoning of Hell, others have taken his place. 2 angels, for example, even a human, and somehow even Superman had a brief rule over Hell. Lucifer made his first on-screen appearance in the Constantine film in 2005, but more recently in the Lucifer show, where he has made an appearance as the devil in the CW crossover event Crisis on Infinite Earths, where he grants Constantine, John Diggle, and Mia Smoke Queen, Oliver Queen's daughter from the future, the ability to go into purgatory and retrieve Oliver's soul to return it to his body after his death. This also confirmed that the series takes place on Earth 666, which if it hadn't of, I would have been livid and I would have started a riot, just saying.
Moving on to number 3, we have Dormammu. Dormammu is one of the first demons that come to mind when you think of demonic individuals lurking around the Marvel Universe. Created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko in 1964, his first appearance was in Strange Tales issue 126. Now, Dormammu is often considered to be one of Doctor Strange's most prominent foes, or as Strange calls it, his most terrible foe. He is also one of the universe's most powerful mystical entities. Why is that? Well, it's because he is composed of mystical energy that can be used to achieve pretty much anything. We are talking matter manipulation, energy projection, teleportation, possession, necromancy, resizing, bestowing a power, or creating other demons. That's a lot of scary shit. He's empowered by the worship of his followers, and while he's strongest in his home of the Dark Dimension, there have been times in the past where he's neared an almost multiversal scale of influence. Yeah, that is pretty terrifying. Imagine if he was real. I would be pooping myself with fear.
Number 2, Storm. But when was Storm demonic, you ask? Well, this isn't quite the Storm you've always known. This is a version of Storm from Limbo, where magic was raised. She not only has the same powers as her Earth 616 counterpart, but she also possesses vast magical knowledge and abilities. She even trained young Ilyana in magics for a while during her time in Limbo. But in the end, magic had to kill her to prevent this version of Storm from Earth 8280 from being used by Belasco as a sacrifice in a ritual intended to free himself from Limbo. Which obviously would be bad news, because Belasco's a pretty bad dude. Number 1, Magic. Ilyana Rasputin was kidnapped when she was just a little girl by Belasco and taken to Limbo. While there, she was given tons of power by Belasco, but Belasco was also controlling of her and pretty much a big creep the entire time. He put part of her soul into a bloodstone to solidify his control over her. Despite this, eventually Magic would train and rise up against him using some of her life force to craft her now famous soul sword and overthrow Belasco, later becoming the new ruler of Limbo. She even made the demon Sim her loyal servant for a while. Though being a slippery demon, he would eventually betray her. Unsurprisingly, that's such a Sim thing to do, you know what I mean?
And at 10, Dormammu. Dormammu, I've come to bargain. Although he had been mentioned several times in dialogue along with his realm, the Dark Dimension, he only made his first appearance in Strange Tales number 126 and 127 in 1964. While Strange had been battling one-off mystic threats prior to this, Dormammu became a recurring villain for the character and a threat unlike they had ever faced before. He started with a starring role in a 15-issue storyline line in Strange Tales number 131 to 146, and has made several appearances in other series like The Avengers, Defenders, Thor, and Hellcat. He also appeared in the Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s and can be seen in the Venom saga, where he returns Venom as symbiote and creates Carnage in order to help him escape the Dark Dimension. But thanks to Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Venom teaming up, he was sent back along with Carnage and Venom. He didn't make his silver screen debut until 2016 in Doctor Strange, where he got in an eternal struggle with Strange until he was ready to leave Earth alone. Fun fact, Dormammu was actually mocapped by Cucumber Patch and voiced by a mix of him and another unnamed British actor. And if you don't consider him a demon, you don't remember him being a former Lord of Hell. Yeah, it's a thing.
In at number 9, Mephisto. Like Surtur, Mephisto is arguably one of the more powerful demons kicking around the Marvel Universe, and if this were a top 10 powerful demons list, he would definitely find himself in the top half. But in terms of being scary, while Mephisto does fit the bill, he suffers from two factors. The first is that out of all of the demons on our list, he is the most human looking. Second, we've been desensitized to the character, with him being one of the most commonly appearing demons in Marvel's panels. Sure, he wields terrifying power, but unlike some of his other nefarious peers, he is much less mysterious to us. Mephisto first appeared in the Silver Surfer issue 3 in 1968, a foe for Galactus' Herald and the Cosmic Hero, and a tempter, who, according to Mike Conroy, I quote, could offer the endlessly soul-tormented Silver Surfer the world. Now this immortal demon has been a perennial antagonist in the Marvel Universe since, capturing and hiding souls, posing as Satan, and generally just being And similar to our previous number, Mephisto also derives from another fictional historical figure, Mephistopheles, a demon hailing from Faust legend in German folklore, and is a devil who makes deals with Faust for the price of the mortal soul.
Number 8. Nature Girl. Nature Girl's powers include the ability to connect with nature, meaning that she is often able to influence animals and creatures of the wilderness and convince them to do her bidding. In fact, her influence even extends beyond critters, allowing her to control weather and the elements as well. Included in the beings that she seems to have influence over are Bamfs, which seem to be very attracted to Lindley. It's Lynn's connections to the Bamfs that has me pondering as to what other demonic creatures she might be able to influence. Is it possible that her nature powers extend to other realms, including the realms of demons? We have yet to see enough of her to be able to tell for sure, but it seems to me there is enough there to assume she might have some kind of demonic link when it comes to her abilities. Number 7. Sapna. Sapna became, for a time, Magic's sort of protege. Her mutant powers allowed her to absorb and understand any languages she came into contact with, similar to Cypher. The difference was, at the time when Sapna's powers manifested, she was in Limbo. This led her to absorbing all of the magical knowledge in the Limbo dimension, which granted her additional demonic abilities. As a result, she became a magic user who could control demons and cast spells. Magic even suspected that Sapna was capable of reanimating the dead. Unfortunately, we never got to find out, as Sapna met her demise when the World Eater used her as a host and Magic was forced to kill her, trapping her spirit for a time inside her soul sword.
Number 6. Lucifer Morningstar. Okay, so Lucifer isn't really like a superhero, more of an anti-hero. And he doesn't always do good things, but, you know, he has, and that's why he's on the list. Lucifer was an angel who rebelled against the kingdom of heaven and was sent to rule hell by the presence. He ruled there for billions of years until one day he just became bored with it and decided to leave hell and move to Los Angeles. He went on to run a piano bar called Lux. But, you know, being the ruler of hell for over 10 billion years, you make a lot of enemies. So people will decide to come after him, and he needs to fend them off. Being the devil gives him numerous abilities including flight, hellfire, manipulation, healing, strength, and yeah, he's immortal, so.
And at 5, Azazel. There are multiple Azazels that can be considered supervillains. There is the Marvel version, who first appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 428, who is the father to Nightcrawler, who is the member of the, sorry if I butcher this, Nephim, an ancient race of demonic mutants who were at constant war with their angelic counterparts. Azazel was in fact their leader, and has the powers of teleportation, shapeshifting, superhuman agility, night vision, and an advanced healing factor, immortality, telepathy, hypnosis, dark arts mastery, and sword combat mastery. These are incredible abilities, but if you're looking for a literal demon, look no further than the television show Supernatural. At first referred to as Yellow Eyes or the Yellow-Eyed Demon, Azazel is literally a demon and is the reason the whole show began. This demon killed the main character's mother, hence why the family started hunting the supernatural. Oh, I get it. He also ended up killing Sam's girlfriend, causing him to join Jean on his hunt to find their father. He was the driving force behind the first 2 seasons of the show, spoiler alert, meeting his end in the season 2 finale with the use of the Colt, a specially designed gun to kill anything with the use of special bullets, which was the only weapon they had to kill demons at that point.
Moving on to number 4, Set. Set is the first elder god of Earth on our list today. He is an incredibly powerful ethereal being with vast cosmic powers. Set may have been spawned over 4 billion years ago, but he was first mentioned in Marvel's comics in 1971, in Conan the Barbarian issue 7, and then fully appeared in 1976's Marvel Feature Volume 2 issue 6. Was that right? Yes, it was. He is limited only by his inability to leave the pocket dimension in which he resides. Sorcerers are able to call upon him for power though, and individuals wearing the serpent crown can also be endowed with some of his power, which ranges from levitation to mind control. Except be wary, Set would often taint the minds of those who are under his influence, controlling their minds to an extent. But here's where things get wacky. Way back when, Set discovered that if he ate his brethren gods, his own power would increase. So he became the first ever murderer. But because of this, he began to degenerate into a demon. And he started a trend with other elder gods committing the same act and also becoming demons themselves. More on that later though.
Number 3. Garbahsien. Garbahsien is also a mutant belonging to the group known as Externals. External mutants are beings that are basically considered immortal, forever walkers, as N. Sabanur once referred to them as. Garbahsien also belong to a group within the Externals known as the High Lords, the self-proclaimed leaders of the Externals. Not to be confused with the Eternals, by the way. Externals and Eternals, two different things. Garbahsien is known as being capable of resurrecting himself and has a strong healing factor. However, immortality does not mean that he can't be destroyed. Although Externals are powerful and hard to defeat, Garbahsien could be defeated through having his life force energy drained or his heart consumed by another External. His powers have generally been known to be based in the realm of magic. In fact, his magical shapeshifting abilities combined with his resurrection powers is why I thought of him as demonic. Namely because he is known for shapeshifting into a fearsome and demonic dragon who can breathe fire. You can see this referred to in Gambit Volume 3 Issue 1, where Gambit set out to raid the tomb of Garbahsien's 12th son. Number 2. Madeline Pryor. Madeline Pryor is ranking high on this list because there's a good chance that she could be Omega level. Maddie was the clone of Jean Grey, one of the most powerful mutants that we know of currently. While she doesn't do it often, Pryor actually has the ability to warp reality. She is also virtually immortal, as whenever she is killed, although her physical form ceases to exist, she herself simply reverts to a psionic energy form due to her ties with the Phoenix Force. This is why Nate Gray was able to actually bring her back to life. When it comes to her demonic ties, Madeline is a magic user and sorceress who once made pacts with demons. That's actually how she got those powers, becoming the Goblin Queen. She has also used those ties to summon demonic creatures and get them to do her bidding.
And number 1, Ghost Rider. Oh, Ghost Rider, the spirit of vengeance. He has been linked to multiple people throughout the years, but today I'm going to talk about the most famous one, Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze was a motorcycle stuntman who ended up making you guessed it, a deal with Mephisto to save his surrogate father, Crash Simpson, from dying of cancer. Man, people need to stop making deals with demons and devils. It always goes badly. Always. Mephisto cured Crash and told Johnny that one day he would come back and collect. Later on, Crash attempted an insane motorcycle stunt, trying to jump over 22 cars. Crash died attempting the stunt. After that, Mephisto showed up to collect what he was owed. Johnny then was like, hey, why'd you double cross me? And Mephisto was like, no, I cured your surrogate father of cancer. And that was the deal. Because of the deal, Johnny Blaze now becomes the Ghost Rider. Every night, he would transform and punish the wicked. When he transforms, he becomes one of the most powerful heroes in the Marvel Universe. His powers include super strength, stamina, durability, healing, hellfire manipulation, and the penance stare, which is when he makes someone stare into his eyes and makes them experience all the pain that they have ever caused to someone else. Creepy.
And at number 10, Surtur. Sure, yeah, he's likely more powerful than some of the other demons who will land on the higher spots on our list, but this is about ranking scary, my friends, and we all saw this demon in Thor Ragnarok, and yeah, he was powerful, but he was not scary. He made me giggle. That aside though, let's take a look at Surtur from the comics. First appearing in Journey into Mystery issue 97 in 1963, this demon isn't just a mystical baddie with the power of 1,000 blazing suns, which yes, that is pretty horrific in itself. He's also over 1,000 feet tall, he's a fire giant from an extra-dimensional plane that's known as the Land of Fire Demons, and his power is of apocalyptic proportions. Aside from manipulating fire and generating intense heat, Surtur also has the ability to manipulate on a molecular level, transforming his fingers into serpents, as seen in Journey into Mystery issue 99. He also derives from Norse mythology, prominently being a figure during Ragnarok, in which the flames he brings forth engulf the earth. So yeah, no thank you. Would rather not die in a fiery hell.
Number 9. Jillian. Jillian was one of the members of Azazel's team of Neophem, those demonic mutants who were trying to escape the hellish brimstone dimension. Yeah, the ones I was just talking about. Her powers include flight and agility, making her a decent match for the X-Men's Angel. When Azazel's army was defeated by the X-Men and thereby remained trapped in the brimstone dimension, at least Jillian managed to survive the battle. Many of Azazel's other companions died during that fight. During the feud, Jillian also let it slip that she had a thing for Nightcrawler, but unfortunately for her, Kurt did not seem too interested. Probably because of, the whole evil thing, to be honest. Number 8. Kiwi Black. Kiwi Black is Nightcrawler's half-brother. He is the son of Azazel and likely an indigenous Polynesian woman from New Zealand, as he is part Maori. He was depowered on M-Day, which is why he takes one of the bottom spots, but when he did have powers, they were pretty neat. He could channel bioenergy and use it to increase his strength, or channel it through other beings via touch to disrupt their powers or cause their organs to malfunction. He could also channel this energy through natural surroundings in order to alter it. For example, smashing craters in the ground, or using his powers to cause rock formations to appear shooting up out of the ground. Originally, Kiwi Black worked along Azazel, helping him to try and free his army from the dimension that they were trapped in and transport them to Earth. However, after surviving a sacrificial ritual, he ended up rebelling and instead allied himself with the X-Men. That's what happens when you find out your dad's trying to use you as a gateway. Dang. Time to join the good guys, I guess.
Number 7. Damien Hellstrom. Known as the hero Hellstorm, he is the son of Victoria Hellstrom and the demon lord Satan. The Hellstrom family had a long history of worshipping the devil, and eventually Victoria took that to the next level and actually had a child with Satan. Victoria ran a cult called the Chapel of Dresden, whose goal was to have a demonic child who would eventually take over the earth. At first it looked like Damien lived a fairly normal life, but he really didn't. Like, instead of feeding him normal baby formula as a kid, his mom fed him human blood. His mother was later placed in an insane asylum, and Damien and his sister were separated and raised by different families. It was only as he got older and his mother passed away that Damien found out about his real father. Damien eventually began to harness his abilities and became one of the most powerful magic users in the Marvel Universe. Doctor Strange even thought of passing the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme onto him once. He eventually took on the name of Hellstorm and became the ruler of Hell, but still fights for the good side. His powers include strength, spellcasting, durability, and he can cast Hellfire from his trident.
And at 6, Surtur. Surtur is a fire giant based on Surtur from Norse mythology. Surtur is a native to the land of fire demons whose name I won't even try to pronounce. He first appeared briefly in Journey into Mystery number 97 in 1963, but this was only to set him up as his first proper appearance was in Journey into Mystery number 99 that same year. The character made his silver screen appearance in Thor Ragnarok, where he was prophesied to be the destruction of Asgard, where Thor just laughs in his face and then takes his crown to the trophy room of Asgard, only to set him loose to fulfill the prophecy in the climax of the movie in order to defeat Hela, the goddess of death, and his sister. But as Korg says, as long as the foundations are strong, we can rebuild this place. But oh no, those foundations are gone. That was a terrible Korg voice, but whatever. The fiery demon stands at over 1,000 feet tall and has power of apocalyptic proportions, surpassing those of Thor. Generating heat or near concussive force is like playing with a baby to him. He has the ability to transform his fingers into serpents, levitate, and travel through dimensions. He is on the same level as Odin, a skilled swordsman and warrior, and that tail is something to marvel. No pun intended. But I guess I left it in the script, so pun intended?
In at number 5, Zarathos. If you are a fan of Ghost Rider, Zarathos is a name that will be more than familiar to you. Zarathos first appeared in Marvel Spotlight issue 5 in 1972. In a 1973 Ghost Rider comic, the immortal demon was given a more embellished backstory in which the physical stone body of Zarathos had long laid underground until a Native American tribal sorcerer summoned him in order to help his tribe. Now, if Zarathos helped them, the demon would be given a steady supply of souls to consume. He was down. The more souls he consumes, the more powerful he becomes. Now, because of this relationship, a cult forms following the demon, which then catches the attention of our man Mephisto. Mephisto's all like, dude, no one should get more attention than me, and gets into a brawl with the demon, who then loses and ends up having to serve Mephisto. Zarathos is forced to spend his time in the netherworld, which is kind of like hell, with the exception of being bonded to humans in order to ravage souls, so he can go up on Earth. Here's where Ghost Rider comes in. Now, Zarathos' strength and power is typically likened to Mephisto's, with the latter being just a little bit stronger than he is. He can control the elements on Earth and likes to trap his opponents by having the ground itself engulf them. He also likes to create rock spikes in order to impale people. What a fun guy.
Number 4. Cruel. Cruel is a mutant external who has been tied to the gods Ishtar and Mithra. Ishtar was in fact a god who is also known as Ayana in the comics. In fact, she is a god with many names. She herself has been tied to the story of Hell, the Eldritch gods, and on the less dark side, love and fertility even. Under the name that Cruel evoked of Ishtar, she was known as a god who demanded orgies and blood sacrifices in her name. All that fun demonic stuff, you know. Cruel has a demonic look about him with large muscles, orange hair, and purple skin, and he often acts like one as well, known for his violence and cruelty. His love of violence and cruelty. During World War II, he was a Nazi who worked in a concentration camp where he operated a gas chamber. All too happily, really. Like other externals, he is immortal and can resurrect himself. Cruel also possesses super strength and brandishes razor-sharp claws and teeth. Number 3. Azazel. Azazel is a very powerful mutant. He even claims to have competed for the title of Satan, battling Mephisto and other demonic beings for it. Azazel mated with humans in an attempt to create offspring that would help him and his army to escape the hell dimension that they were trapped in, using his children as a gateway to bring them through to Earth. He himself could teleport to Earth for periods of time due to his insanely strong teleportation powers. His affair with Mystique, who was married at the time, brought about baby Nightcrawler, and Mystique actually may have been the only Earthling that he ever truly cared for. / maybe even loved. His powers include immortality, teleportation. In fact, it has been said that he is one of the most powerful teleporters to ever exist, the ability to physically influence one's will, and the ability to metamorph.
Number 2. Hellboy. Hellboy was found as a baby in 1944 by US soldiers. He was then later raised by Professor Trevor Brutenholm, and as he got older, he went to work for the BPRD, the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense. Since then, he has devoted his life to fight the paranormal. It was also later revealed that he was born to actually summon the apocalypse, but, you know, he had other plans. And due to his demon heritage, Hellboy is a lot stronger than the average human. He has enhanced strength, accelerated healing, and he ages really slowly. Plus, he also has his trusty right hand of doom, which can do an insane amount of damage, and his handgun, the Good Samaritan.
Finally, in at number 1, Shumagorath. Shumagorath's first appearance was in Marvel Premiere number 5 in 1972. His name was taken from the short story The Curse of the Golden Skull by Robert E. Howard, which features a dying magician invoking the iron-bound books of Shumagorath in a curse against humanity. Fun! His powers include energy projection, reality manipulation, shape-shifting, levitation, teleportation, magical powers, and immortality. With the amount of people with immortality on this list, we could make a whole other list about demons who can't die. Shumagorath is one of the most powerful ancient demons to ever exist. Even Dormammu and Mephisto have said he is superior to them. The demon has unmatched power and was even once the ruler of Earth, until a time-traveling sorcerer managed to banish him. He even managed to beat Doctor Strange, causing him to kill the Ancient One. This ultra-powerful demon has rarely been defeated, and that is definitely deserving of the number 1 spot.
Number 10. Ginea. Ginea sewed her eyes shut originally to focus on her telepathy. Her powers involve telepathic and shape-shifting abilities. She's also able to absorb physical blows without really even feeling them. Her body overall is quite durable. Like some of the mutants we talked about on the part 1 of this list, she is also a Neophem, a very ancient demonic type of mutant. Ginea was also one of the members of Azazel's army, looking to escape the Brimstone dimension where they were trapped. She met her end against the X-Men in their fight to escape when Iceman dehydrated her, killing her. And man, that is a way to go. Did not look pleasant. Number 9. Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil was part of Azazel's army, a member of the Neophem. The Neophem are basically demonic mutants, so expect to maybe see a few more of their numbers on this list, other than Ophis and Yggdrasil. After Azazel and the other Neophem were exiled to the Brimstone dimension following a feud with the Chearaphim, basically the opposite of the Neophem, angelic mutants, they plotted to one day escape their hellish dimension. They even temporarily succeeded and were fought against by the X-Men. Angel was captured in the fight and given to Yggdrasil to torture, but was saved when Yggdrasil was killed. Yggdrasil, like Angel, also had wings and could fly. He was also superhumanly strong and dexterous. Ooh la la.
And at 8, Mephisto. Based on a demon from the Legend of Faust, Mephisto first appeared in the Silver Surfer number 3 in the Silver Age. The character made his silver screen appearance in 2007's Ghost Rider starring Nicolas Cage. Mephisto has been responsible for many an evil act in the Marvel Universe, including capturing the soul of Doctor Doom's mother, creating the Ghost Rider, which may not be considered evil even though he was posed as Satan, and even was Thanos' servant during the War of the Gems, but instead looking to gain that power for himself. He also managed to capture the soul of the Richards family, including Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, woman and their son Franklin Richards, who is basically a god. But he's also gone on a date with New Mutants member Magma, because apparently the force that created him also gave him emotions and desires, and we all know what that means. He wants to occasionally do human things. He was also summoned by Superior Spider-Man, Doc Ock inside Peter Parker's body, to get him to stop Spider-Man of Earth 44145. But as Mephisto replies, sorry, that's out of my jurisdiction.
And at number 7, Nightmare. Nightmare is like Marvel's Freddy Krueger, but minus the camp and knives for fingers. Nightmare is the ruler of a dream dimension, and is a fear lord. In this dream dimension, he torments humans who have found themselves there while they sleep. He is pretty whack. Nightmare imprisons humans in his dimension and even tormented Doctor Strange when Doctor Strange forgot to recite a spell before he went to bed. And if that wasn't scary enough, Nightmare rides around in his dream dimension on a demonic black horned horse, who is named Dreamstalker. How beautiful. He has the ability to draw power from the psychic energies of the subconscious minds of dreaming beings. And he has nigh omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresence. So all in all, Nightmare is not a demon you want to screw with.
Number 6, Young Beast. While Beast of Earth 616 sticks to science, young Hank McCoy from an alternate universe, temporarily and unofficially referred to as Earth 240, eventually turned to magics. In Volume 2 of All New X-Men, he is driven even further towards using the mystic arts, as he and the X-Men are forced to go up against the Goblin Queen and a demonic horde. In desperation, he accidentally performs a ritual that transforms him into a demonic beast, complete with giant horns. Well, not necessarily accidentally. He meant to do the ritual, but I don't think he really knew what he was doing, unfortunately. However, this ritual also levels up his powers enough to allow him to defeat Madeline Pryor. Yay! But of course, they come at a cost, because that's how magic works. Sometimes, depending on what lore you're reading. But sometimes it comes at a cost. Number 5, Sabretooth. While Sabretooth might not be more powerful than some of the mutants previously listed, he is still alive and still has his powers, albeit he is in exile right now. During the Weapon X series from 2017, Sabretooth found himself tied to the demonic world after he sacrificed himself to save his son Graydon from hell. I know, weird, right? What a weird time to become tied to demons, but let's talk about that. Victor had gone to hell to trade his soul for his son's, and as such he was reverted to a base animalistic state and was set free from the dimension by Marduk, who confessed that he would not enjoy torturing Sabretooth in hell, both while he was not competent enough to understand it, because he was all like animalistic, and while he had just earned such torture through a noble deed, as opposed to a series of bad ones. Marduk was like, why can't you just be terrible? I want you to be terrible again. So Marduk then allowed him to be resurrected, setting him out into the world once more, but now free of the conscience that we'd seen Sabretooth build throughout the last few arcs he'd had in the comics, trying to redeem himself. Kind of had like a heroic Sabretooth almost coming, but nope, he's gone. So now he's back, he's bad, and he's on a road back to hell. Hence him being a bad guy again. Sad. I kind of miss good guy Sabretooth. Do you guys miss good guy Sabretooth? Probably not. Let me know in the comments.
Number 4, Constantine. Okay, so while he's not technically a full demon, he did have demon blood flowing through him for a very long time, so that's why he's on the list. And that's probably why he's not number 1. If he was like a full demon, he would be number 1 because he's just awesome. John Constantine, and yes, I know technically it's pronounced Constantine in the original source material. The pronunciation of Constantine has become way more popular, and it's been used for almost all of his live action and animated appearances, so I'm just using that, and also it just sounds so much cooler. Constantine, Constantine, like come on. Okay, so John Constantine is a magic using con man. He was born in Liverpool and grew up in London. His mother died during childbirth, and his father blamed him for it. John is a master of the dark arts, having practiced his whole life. He can cast spells, summon demons, travel to different dimensions, and all of that fun stuff. He also smokes, like a lot. And he says whatever he wants, which tends to make a lot of people hate him. But that's why we love him.
And at 3, Blackheart. The technical son of Mephisto, Blackheart was under his father's tutelage when he learned what not to do, and that he should be doing it anyway. He even took on the Daredevil and Spider-Man but failed to corrupt them. But Blackheart wasn't happy being a prince of hell. He decided he wished to overthrow his father. So in an attempt to get help in doing so, he led Ghost Rider, Punisher, and Wolverine to Christ's Town in an attempt to corrupt them. The 3 heroes ended up following Blackheart into his dimension for a final confrontation, where Blackheart pitched the idea. He first appeared in Daredevil number 270 in 1989 and has some pretty dope powers, including superhuman strength, speed, durability, telekinesis, telepathy, levitation, interdimensional teleportation, size alteration, regenerative healing, energy generation, soul capturing, which allows him to take the soul without needing permission, which is wrong. Coming from a ginger, always take souls with consent. He also has mind control, immortality, and penance stare immunity, so Ghost Rider can't really do that much to Blackheart. Jesus, this guy's pretty damn powerful. But again, take souls with consent.
Up next in our number 2 spot, Shuma Gorath. Shuma Gorath is known as the Lord of Chaos. Ooh, fun. First appearing in Marvel Premiere issue 5 in 1972, this demon's name was taken from a short story by Robert E. Howard, titled The Curse of the Golden Skull, that featured a dying magician who used the ironbound books of Shuma Gorath to curse humanity. As such, this demon in the Marvel Universe is a curse to humanity. Having ruled over the world, it demanded human sacrifice before it was eventually banished by a time traveler. More recently, in the 2013 Infinity Story arc, we saw Ebony Maw of the Black Order manipulate Doctor Strange to summon Shuma Gorath, to New York City of course, which as you can imagine did not go over well. So what's so horrific about this demon minus its aesthetic? Well, it is an ancient force of chaos, nigh invisible, and is a godlike ruler of over 100 different alternate universes. It can imitate the magic of others, it can alter reality, shapeshift, teleport, project energy, and much more. And worst of all, it can automatically destroy multiple galaxies via aura pressure alone. What the f***? As stated in Strange Tales Volume 2, Issue 14. Yikes.
Number 1. Selene. One of the oldest mutants around, Selene is known for being 17,000 years old. Her powers both allow her and require her to drain life force energy. If she doesn't, she'll die. She can use this psychic energy to increase her own strength, speed, and durability, as well as maintain her immortality and her eternal youth. Feeding off life energy, though, often leads to her killing her victims, turning them into dust. Although she can choose to drain only some life energy from her victims, which allows them to live but also grants Selene full control over them, if she so chooses. She also has a slew of other powers including telekinesis, telepathy, and pyrokinesis, and was once a member of the inner circle of the Hellfire Club. She is currently residing on Krakoa with many of the other mutants. There, she is in charge of helping to monitor the amount of psychic energy that herself and Krakoa drain from the population. She is actually allowed to feed off the population as part of the rules of Krakoa, wherein the Quiet Council agreed to provide whatever sustenance necessary to the mutants who joined that nation. And oh yeah, the sentient land of Krakoa feeds off of the psychic energy of its populace, in case you didn't know that. Selene was also originally known in Uncanny X-Men Volume 1 as the Demon Huntress. I like that alias for her. Number 10. Ophis. Ophis was a large, frightening, demonic mutant also belonging to the Neophem. He had an insane level of strength and durability. If Yggdrasil was the dark opposite of Angel, then Ophis was the dark opposite to Wolverine, which is saying something about just how dark and demonic he was, as Logan himself is a pretty dark side. As such, in the battle with X-Men, Ophis ended up torturing a captured Wolverine, but during the destruction of Azazel's castle, he ended up getting an arm free, and well, that was kind of the end of Ophis, cause you know, snicked. You know how it goes. Literally the next panel, just Wolverine. Snicked. He dead. Claws to the head. What a way to go.
Number 9. Etrigan the Demon. Etrigan is a demon who is bound to the human Jason Blood. He was summoned by Merlin, who was trying to learn all of his, demon secrets. But when he couldn't, he just decided to bond the demon with a human, Jason Blood. Now, bonded with a demon, Jason became immortal and now lives in the modern era. Even though the two have clashed over the years, they decided to use their partnership to fight for the side of good. Although, Jason, and Etrigan have been known to dabble with the dark side every now and again. Of course, because he's a demon, he's very enhanced with strength, speed, hellfire projection, sorcery, immortality, and all that fun stuff. Number 8. Blue Devil. Dan Cassidy was the stuntman and special effects artist and got hired to play the main character in a movie called Blue Devil. He was tasked with creating an outfit for the character. It was made out of Kevlar, so it was really strong and durable, but the movie required, you guessed it, a lot of stunts. During the shoot, Dan was in the suit doing a scene when they accidentally released a real demon, and eventually they managed to send the demon back to where it came from, but not before it shot a blast of demonic energy. After trying to, take the suit off, he realized it was now permanently part of him. Not officially a demon at first, Dan actually became one later after being defeated by Nekron in Hell. Dan later decided to use his powers to help people, and his powers include strength, speed, durability, healing, and enhanced senses.
And at 7, Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Pennywise, also known as It, is the main antagonist of Stephen King's novel It. Pennywise is a form of ancient cosmic evil that is also considered a demon by many, that preys on the children of Derry, Maine, since they're the only ones who can see him, roughly every 27 years or so. He has a wide array of powers, including but not limited to shape-shifting, going unnoticed by adults, bending reality, teleportation, and manipulation of objects and humans. In the novel, he starts his killing spree by taking the life of Georgie, the younger brother of protagonist Bill. The character is always watching his prey, appearing several times in the background of both parts of the new movies. Pennywise was created when King asked himself what scares children the most, the answer being clowns. So he created one who was similar to the troll in the children's tale 3 Billy Goats Gruff, but who inhabited a sewer system. There is no other explanation needed for this character, as I'm sure we all know who Pennywise is, and he definitely deserves to be on this list. Definitely a demon.
Moving on to number 6, Dweller in Darkness. Dweller in Darkness first appeared in Doctor Strange issue 30 in 1978, although had been mentioned in Marvel lore a handful of years earlier in Thor issue 229 in 1974. Now this immortal demon is capable of some fear-inducing abilities. Actually, Dweller can generate fear in other living beings, which in turn empowers and sustains him. In addition to that, he can create sentient creatures out of fear, he can turn deceased humans into shadow thralls, and he does not age. But here's where it gets really creepy. The Dweller became the demon he is thanks to the Way of the Shamblu, a ritual that involved the Dweller removing his own head from his body. His body died, but his head lives on as a corporeal being. It uses a robotic body, in case you were wondering.
Number 5, Wolverine, or as we knew him at the time, Helverine. When Wolverine's soul was trapped in hell by Mystique and the Red Right Hand, a demon took possession of his body, which was still on Earth. This demon-possessed version of Wolverine wreaked havoc on Earth while Wolverine was gone, killing anyone who got in his way and targeting many of Wolverine's family and friends when it came to who he decided to attack. Wolverine would eventually regain control over his body after battling his way out of hell and dealing with the demons that resided within his own mind. Number 4, Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler has all sorts of demonic ties. Firstly, he is the son of Azazel, who had a thing with his biological mother Mystique while she was married to Baron Christian Wagner. When Kurt was being born, Mystique lost momentary control of her powers while in labor, revealing to everyone her true nature. Because of baby Kurt's demonic form and Mystique's reveal of her ability to shapeshift, the two were chased down by an angry mob. During their fight, Mystique lost consciousness and lost baby Kurt in the process. Nightcrawler would go on to be taken in by Romani sorceress Margali Sardos. His teleportation powers link him to the Brimstone dimension, which he uses as a stepping stone to transport himself wherever he so chooses with his teleportation powers. The Brimstone dimension basically acts as a through point for Kurt, leaving a puff of smoke behind every time he uses it that smells of burnt brimstone. Bam! That's his teleportation sound. Bam!
Number 3. Spawn. Spawn, originally known as Al Simmons, was a highly trained soldier. He worked for the United States Marine Corps, the Secret Service, and the CIA. And while on a mission for the CIA, Al was murdered by his friend Bruce. And who gave the order? Well, it was none other than the CIA director Jason Wynn. Then Al got sent to hell because, he killed a lot of people over his time, and decided, hey, I'm gonna make a deal so I can go up and see my wife again, Wanda. Well, of course, things don't go exactly as planned when you make a deal in hell. So he returns to Earth, but now as a hell spawn. He doesn't really remember a lot, and he looks completely different. He does eventually manage to remember his wife, and he goes to see her. Turns out 5 years have passed, and she's remarried and has a kid. So now he's just forced to do the bidding of a demon from hell. He goes after really dangerous people and other supernatural creatures. His powers include strength, durability, and his symbiotic suit, which protects him.
Penultimately at number 2, Lord Loss. Doing something a little different here. Lord Loss is a demon master and main antagonist of the book series The Demonata by Darren Shan. These books are incredible, and if you like demons, which you clearly do because you're still watching this, I highly suggest you read it. These books were everything to me from grade 10 onwards. Anyway, he is the only character to appear in all 10 books of the series, not necessarily present, but he's at least mentioned, and his appearance is that of nightmares. Pale red lumpy skin covers his body with 8 mangled arms and no heart. Instead, a whole filled with tiny venomous snakes. He has dark red eyes and even darker pupils. He doesn't walk. He floats above the ground with strips of bloody flesh hanging from where his feet should be. His skin is cracked all over and blood seeps through these cracks. He enjoys chess, even plays it for sport with humans who are infected with lycanthropy. If they win, he will cure one member of the family, but if they lose, he will torture them for very long periods of time due to the fact that he feeds on the suffering of humans, therefore isn't interested in mindless killing like other demons. At first, I pictured this demon wearing a suit. I don't know why, I just wanted to. But ever since seeing drawings of the character, I'm surprised I wasn't scared to death by these books. They're incredible. My favorite two are the second and third, Demon Thief and Slaughter. Again, highly suggest you read these books because they're amazing and extremely well written. God, do it.
And finally at number 1, Shaitan. Shaitan is another elder god with vast cosmic abilities. And by vast, well, we mean he might arguably be the strongest, most powerful demon in the Marvel multiverse. Similar to Set, he degenerated into a demon the more that he killed, with his desire for power being absolutely ceaseless. He is responsible for creating many a demon and is often depicted as the ultimate primal evil in the universe. Shaitan, who gives us major Cthulhu vibes, first appeared in Marvel Chillers issue 1 in 1975, where he was simply called The Other. He wouldn't get a name until Avengers issue 186 in 1979. Devoted to the study and manipulation of mystical energies, Shaitan would become Earth's first master of black magic, and even experimented on his fellow gods. The only one to really oppose him, and to protect us, is Gaia, the Earth goddess and one of the only elder gods who did not fall into corruption to gain power. But having immense foresight, knowing Gaia would bring about an end to his freedom, he had written all of his spells and worked down on indestructible parchment, which would eventually become the Darkhold, the Earth's first tome of black magic, and a gateway for Shaitan to eventually return. After being defeated and exiled, he resides in his own dimension, spawning a race of demons capable of returning to Earth, even though he himself couldn't. Now these days he tends to possess characters in the Marvel Universe from Scarlet Witch to Quicksilver, with Wanda actually having to endure that twice. Luckily Doctor Strange helped her out and freed her from the demon's influence that last time that had happened during Secret Empire. Fun stuff.